All right, guys, I think we got all the bugs out now. Brian, can you hear me now?
I sure can. What's up, man?
All right, we got Brian Reznor in Florida. Derek Jones said he wasn't going to be here, and I guess he's true to his word. But we got Steve New back in the studio. Steve, how you been, brother?
Doing well. Glad to be back. Finished with politicking for a day or two, and
a couple of hours at least.
Couple of hours, and I'll be back hopefully from here on out for the rest of the season. Glad to be here. Thanks so much for having me.
After reading Steve New's plan for a new America, I'd say that we better enjoy him while he's here because soon he'll be president.
I wouldn't go that far, but
well, my plan is I'm going to try to get in his pocket so I can move up to the White House with him. You know what I mean?
Nice.
He's right-hand guy.
John will work security, chief of staff, whatever it is we got to do.
Whatever it takes.
I don't know. From what I understand, there are tons of people trying to get in Steve New's pockets, so you might not get there.
We'll just make bigger pockets.
Make bigger pockets.
Just that's not a problem, Rez. Make bigger pockets.
Get him some Jinkos from like back in the 90s and have all kind of room.
There's a long line to get in those pockets, so I don't know.
Be the first president to wear Jinkos.
That'll be awesome.
That would be awesome.
Get you some what was the shoes that was real popular? Not the Chucks, but
Airwalks.
Airwalks. Yeah.
Some Jinkos.
Maybe a backwards hat like Fred Durst. Maybe.
There you go.
But anyway, guys, we're not here to talk about what Steve's going to wear when he becomes president. We're here to talk about some wrestling. A lot of great, entertaining stuff has happened in the last week. Before we get started, Steve, I know you wasn't here for this last week, but Sunday evening, me, Brian, and Derek, we did a pre-show for the Elimination Chamber and give out our picks.
Right.
And I want to give the results of our predictions right now.
All right.
Coming in last place, Mr. I can't show up on a Wednesday, Mr. Derek Jones. Mm-hmm. He had 3 matches correct. Coming in second place with 4 matches correct was this guy. So, Brian Reznor, you got 5 matches correct. You win. I don't know what you win, but you win.
I win the trophy of being the smartest out of you two and me.
Steve said it only happened because he wasn't here. That's what he said.
Yeah, he would have probably guessed them all right. He's going to be president.
Nah.
With Jinkos and Airwalks.
That's right.
and a backward Yankees cap.
And a backward Yankees cap. And have a CD called The Chocolate Starfish and the Hot Dog Flavored Water. But anyway, since we finally got the show up and going, for you that came back, appreciate you guys. We're having some technical difficulties, but everything's rolling smooth now. We're going to go to the part of the show where we talk about our pros and cons. For you guys at home that don't know and are watching for the first time, we try to give out 1 pro, 1 con apiece from the wrestling world over the past week. Sometimes it's hard to pick just one, but we try. Steve, since you haven't been here in so long, my friend, I'm going to put you on the spot and let you start. I'll let you pick pros or cons, whichever one you start with.
I'll start with the pros,
okay.
And it's something that I've talked about for a little while now, and I'm going to give the pro to the women's tag team elimination chamber match.
That was impressive.
I have long pushed and been a fan of women's tag team championship. There's a little bit of some revisionist history going on. WWE briefly had a women's tag team division back in the 80s. They completely ignore it. I don't care. I'm a mark.
1 second, Steve. Let me see who's calling. Somebody's calling a Ramble on. Hey, what's up? You're on with the Royal Ramble. Who we got? Hello?
I gave my wife a Batista bomb and she's not moving.
Hey, the Royal Ramble can't help. Hey, call Botchamania. There's nothing I can do to help, buddy.
Drop an elbow, man. Drop an elbow.
I knew it was up because they called the first time with no caller ID. I was
right.
Like, yep, here we go, Mr. Prankster again.
There we go.
But anyway, Steve, go ahead, buddy.
Anyway, I really liked that match. I thought it was well played. You had Sasha Banks injured. You got to see her overcome that. And there's only one way to have good writing that takes out a force of nature like Nia Jax. She knocks herself out on the side.
Perfect writing.
And, it leaves Tamina Snuka solo. They get worked over. But the thing I love most about that match was that every single tag team showcased something. I don't care whether it was the Iconics. I don't care whether it was the Riot Squad. You know, I have long thought that Liv Morgan, you know, wasn't a really good wrestler. Didn't like, man, Liv Morgan wrestled her tail off
She did very good.
that night, and I just think it was a great match. That's my pro. I wouldn't have cared who among them won. I thought they were all worthy. And
Me personally, Steve, I would have done one thing different if I would have been writing. If you remember last year at Elimination Chamber when they had the first ever women's Elimination Chamber, and you had the spot with Sasha and Bailey up on the pod, they were there again.
I know.
I would have had Bailey turn on Sasha right there. I would have had it happen. But
if you didn't want to put the straps on them,
yeah,
you know, you could have done that angle to keep the straps from going on them, put them on somebody, you know, put them on
and how about this
somebody else.
The spear from what's Mandy Rose's partner? I can't even remember her name. What's her name, Brian?
Talking about Sonya Deville?
Yeah, how about that
Sonya
spear
Deville.
she did? That was
Oh
great.
my goodness. Oh my, just some of
Or
that
no,
stuff.
was it Sonya Deville or was it Sarah Logan? It was Sarah Logan that night, wasn't it?
I don't think so. I think it was Sonya
I think
Deville.
it was Sonya Deville.
I could be wrong.
I liked all of those ladies in that match. I thought it was a great match.
Yeah. Brian, do you agree, or is that your pro? Probably not.
No, definitely not.
No? Okay. So if you want to touch on that, you're more than welcome to. If not, you tell us what your pro is, my friend.
Well, it was hard to narrow it down to just one pro because there's a lot of good pro things that happen. But honestly, instead of making it a pro about a moment, my pro is going to be Kofi Kingston, period. The Elimination Chamber he did awesome in. That was the first time that I have had that childlike wonder since I was a child. I really wanted Kofi to win so bad, and I was on the edge of my seat thinking that maybe, just maybe, they were going to let him win. You know, I almost picked the NXT call-ups as my pro, but Kofi getting all the getting all that action, and then also on SmackDown, he was named number one contender for for Fastlane. Kofi Kingston is my pro for the week.
Mm-hmm.
I can't argue with that. I thought about that myself because it's long overdue. I'm still unsure if they're going to give him the title or not. But
I don't know. He had a great match the week before, you know, for the who got out.
Match?
Yeah, the gauntlet match. He had a great match then. He went a long time on SmackDown. I thought he handled himself well. And then that led into a really great Elimination Chamber match.
Do you know what this feels like to me? It feels like Eddie Guerrero 2004.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it feels like.
I like Kofi, but he's no Eddie Guerrero, in my opinion. I understand what you're trying to reference there, but I don't feel like it's that way because even when Eddie was on the mid card, he was a lot more prominent and more. He won more matches. I mean, essentially, you know, really, tell me one match that Kofi Kingston has had other than his last 2 or 3 that is relevant in his career.
When he beat Randy Orton.
Okay, and that was it. Whenever he beat the hell out of the car and slipped in the paint, but that's the only one, right? And see, I was bummed out back then because you talked about that childlike wonder then, and I was 100% on the Kofi bandwagon back then. I was like, okay, here's the side of Kofi that I haven't seen. No more accent. Here we go. Kofi Kingston going to get loose, and then he won that match, and it kind of just fizzled away.
Well, I mean, he was also, you know, he had a lot of good Intercontinental title runs. He's one of the greatest tag team champions of all time. I mean, Kofi's done a lot. You know, I think that it's very easy to forget how much Kofi has done.
Real quick before I move on to my pro, gentlemen, I got to go to my man Sean Bowman here on Facebook. I see it's not popping up. What's the problem? Oh, there it is. Yeah, he says his Steve News Bingo Central hat tonight.
Hey, listen, these teachers and that Senate Bill 451 dying right here. Everything that happens great in this state originates in Mingo County. This is Mingo. Bloody Mingo. If you want a strike started, if you want to get something done, it originates from Mingo County, baby.
Hey, this ain't baseball.
I
We're
love
not
how
throwing
Steve
balls.
Boo just cut a promo on Sean Bowman. Listen here, buddy.
He's been out of the Ramble for a while, man. He's got
That's
some
right.
build
I
up
gotta get the
frustrations
juices
there.
going back, brother.
Got the
Cut
adrenaline pumping.
promos. I like it.
My pro for the week, gentlemen, was the NXT call-ups. I hate that they announced the call-ups. I would have much rather seen them surprise us. with
That's your
them.
con?
That's my pro.
You're pro.
That's my pro.
I loved the way Triple H, like the promo that Triple H cut though to bring them out and to get you hype about them, got me hype.
Well, I mean, it was cool. Don't get me wrong. That's part of my pro. But I referenced this a couple weeks back on the show. I missed that surprise element that WWE just doesn't seem to give us that much anymore when they got a new guy coming up. And
Well,
go ahead. What?
Can I give you a little insight on why I think that they did it like that is because of ratings. You know, a lot of people are watching when Raw comes on. So they're almost in a desperate push for ratings. They're like, "Hey guys, don't change the channel. We got Ricochet, we got Aleister Black, we got Johnny Gargano, we got Tommaso Ciampa." So that you are like, "Hey, when are they going to come out?" So you continue to watch the show. It's almost like a desperate push for ratings, really. Instead of, the surprise factor's great unless nobody's watching. And if nobody's watching, the surprise factor falls on deaf eyes because there are no blind eyes. There's
You
no
sound like, you
surprise.
sound like Jim Justice. You don't know what the hell you're saying over there.
Buddy, we
Yeah,
got 15
I'm
horses
bad.
and. Sorry,
Uh,
Brian.
Either way, you get my point.
I get your
Yes.
point totally, but it's nice to see them on the main show. I have a lot of questions and a lot of concerns. I've seen on the internet where they're going to be bouncing from SmackDown and Raw and NXT. How long can you do that before you ruin what's the word I'm looking for, the magic of NXT, for lack of a better word? I don't like them bouncing back and forth. I want them to be on a brand. I don't mind so much that they're on Raw and SmackDown. They can bounce them back and forth. Honestly, I don't think they're going to stick around. I think they're coming up, like you said, to get ratings up, and this is the future. I think Fox is going to have a NXT show next fall. They're going
Right.
to have something on there for NXT.
Let me
and
tell
they're
you-
just want to familiarize the fan base with these guys.
Let me tell you my concern about it. My concern about it is right now, NXT needs to work, or the WWE needs to work to make NXT an equal brand.
Sure.
Because right now, you still get this feeling of being called up almost. Well, I'm telling you, watch Tommaso Ciampa, watch Johnny Wrestling. Those guys aren't called up from the minor leagues at all. So my problem is if
They
it
don't
has
set the bar; they break the bar.
well, that's exactly right. And they put the other tag champs, the Revival, the Revival jobbed to DIY just a week or two after winning the tag belts.
Just a week, I believe.
Yeah, so my problem with them bouncing around those brands like that is that you've got guys like the Revival, if they're so quickly putting over to Ciampa and Johnny Gargano, then is that diluting your established stars who are on your show and have been on there for months or
Even
years?
Elias with Aleister Black. I
Right.
like Aleister Black, but how
You've been building up Elias for months,
Yeah.
and now he's got a job to Aleister Black.
Yeah.
I just, as an old school wrestling fan, I have a problem with that.
You know who was really confused? The people who were really confused were your casual fan who's not watching NXT. The guy who's just watching SmackDown and Raw were like, who the hell are these guys? And, well, you know who they are at least. And, there are people out there that were seeing these guys for the very first time. And they were like, wait a minute, why are they beating the ones we know about? Who are these guys?
And
now,
in a way that was great. You know who Ricochet's debut reminded me of? RVD. RVD showed up in the WWF and wrestled Jeff Hardy, and those two burned the place to the ground that night. And Ricochet's tag team debut with Finn Balor the other night. You talk about that childlike wonder, Brian. When I watched Ricochet wrestle.
Was it the first time you really got to watch him?
Yeah, it was the first. I had seen some matches, had watched some. Like I said, I've been trying to catch up on NXT some. But the other night, I was sitting there in a recliner thinking, man, this feels just like RVD's debut to me when he came out there and Jim Ross was like, man, the world meet RVD. And that's what Ricochet's coming out party felt like to me the other night.
How about his finish off the top rope?
Oh,
how's that possible?
I have no clue, but the guy's in great, phenomenal physical shape. If he doesn't get hurt, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Oh, yeah.
Very true.
Let's go ahead and move on, gentlemen. Let's go with the cons now. Brian, I'll go with you on the cons, my friend. Where do you want us to go there?
Well, I've got a con that kind of goes right with my pro. My con is that I feel like Kofi Kingston is just going to go to Fastlane, get beat, and they're going to put somebody else in there at WrestleMania to face Daniel Bryan. And I'm still on the Kofi wagon. I want Kofi to win the title at WrestleMania, and I feel like he's getting his shot at Fastlane, which will amount to nothing. And I hope that that's not true, but that is my con. It was almost Ruby Riott versus Ronda Rousey rematch, but I have to go with Kofi.
Hey, I didn't have a problem with the Ruby Riott Ronda rematch, but the match at the pay-per-view was crap. I mean,
both of the matches were crap.
Well, I mean, at least Ruby Riott got a little offense on SmackDown, or I'm sorry, on Raw.
Well, to me, if you get absolutely demolished squash match style at the pay-per-view, why do you get another shot?
Right.
I'll give you that.
Right.
And why? And if you do get a shot, why are you on my main event?
Yeah.
True.
We've
can't argue with anything that Brian just said.
I can't.
Nobody
That's
can
why I'm
argue
over here.
with anything that Brian just said. Can I give you my con?
Sure, go ahead, throw it out.
Braun Strowman getting beat by that Hot Topic manager at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. If somebody tells me that Baron Corbin doesn't look like a manager at Hot Topic, I'll fight you out in the parking lot right now. He dresses.
Well, you ain't gonna fight me because I agree with you.
He dresses, talks, and acts like a Hot Topic manager that just made manager and is awful cocky about it. And I cannot believe.
I was thinking you look more like a host at Applebee's.
Well, that could be a TGI Fridays bartender or something.
Well, it's the tattoo on the neck and the earrings that totally turn him into a Hot Topic guy for sure.
I think so. But I cannot believe that Vince is screwing up such a talented product, such a talent like Braun Strowman. And it's the same garbage that you see. Three guys come out there, beat him up, squash him, with some steel
triple
steps.
Powerbomb, mind you.
Triple powerbomb. I don't care that it was a triple powerbomb through two tables or whatever it was. It was just awful. The whole thing. I mean, if you want to try to build Baron Corbin back up, Golden Gloves champion, do that. I mean, make it look like he's tougher than you might have thought that he was. But then in a no DQ match, where you can
Brandon
use weapons.
Evans says there's no gauged ears. He's not a Hot Topic manager.
Well, you and I beg to differ. Gauged ears or no, he looks just like the manager of a Hot Topic, just made manager.
I thought he had gauged ears. Maybe I'm just picturing him having gauged
Lyndon
ears.
Childers says John Covey Cole, to be honest, it was Sonya Blade versus Ruby Riott at the pay-per-view. You're right.
That was cool that she came out dressed like Sonya Blade. I liked that.
I was just glad she wasn't tugging on her britches all night.
Well, here's something that I don't think anyone noticed. Did you notice that was that's like a reoccurring theme right now? Because last month at the Royal Rumble, Selena Vega, she came out dressed like Vega from Street Fighter. Now this pay-per-view, Ronda Rousey comes out dressed like Sonya Blade from Mortal Kombat.
I think it's just their fandom coming out.
No. Let me tell you what this is. Okay. I've got a theory. Cody and Brandy did that a couple of months ago, and they got majorly over on social media for doing that. And I'm telling you, they came out dressed up like game characters. I can't remember. guys, I'm Mr. Atari, okay? So I don't know these games, who the characters are, or anything like that. I'm Mr. 80s, Stevie New Wave. And so anyway, all I know, though, is that I saw the social media reaction to Cody and Brandy coming out dressed as game characters. And you're going to see more of Vince, because I don't know that Vince has ever had an original idea in his life. Everything that he's ever gotten, he stole from somebody else's promotion. And watch how much of that kind of stuff Vince McMahon continues to do. That wasn't accidental, John. Brandy and Cody did it 2 months ago at a show.
But hardly anybody I didn't see one article about Selena Vega dressed like Vega from Street Fighter. And I had to point it out to the people I was watching the pay-per-view with. I was like, look, she's dressed like Vega from Street Fighter. And they were like, huh? So not a lot of people realized that Selena Vega was dressed like Vega from Street Fighter. But if you go back and watch it now and then look up Vega, you'll see what I'm talking about.
Sure.
My con for the week is Mandy Rose. As much as I love Mandy Rose, but my con of the week is Mandy Rose pinning Asuka clean on SmackDown.
That made me so angry.
I understand you want to push Mandy Rose. I understand you want to push Mandy Rose to the main event level. I get that. But at the expense of your champion?
She fits Vince's
absolutely
profile. I mean, that's
I could see putting her in the main event in like 1997, 98. Yeah. But now you've got wrestlers like Sonya Deville. Sonya Deville is literally standing beside of her. I would love to see Sonya Deville and Asuka. Why are we not doing that? But we're going to push Mandy Rose versus Asuka. Is that going to go to WrestleMania?
Now, see, I don't have a problem with Mandy Rose, and I don't have a problem with her push. My problem is she's pinning your champion clean.
This time last year, Asuka was undefeated.
I think 10 months ago, lost 3 matches, maybe 4.
10 months ago, Asuka was defeated.
It's crazy. About that. It's crazy.
All right, man.
But yeah, I ain't gonna go off on a big tangent about it. But that upsets me. I almost picked R-Truth not being on the show again, the U.S. champion for the 3rd or 4th week in a row. Get rid of the title. If that's what you're going to do with it, get rid of it. If you're not, it was hard for me not to pick the NXT's call-ups as a con, because it's taken away from these other guys, especially EC3, for example. They just got the call-up, and they're not being used, and then all of a sudden, you bring these other guys up, which I get, Ricochet, Aleister Black, Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa. They're a lot more high-profile and are more known than EC3, Heavy Machinery.
I disagree.
Well, that's because you're a NXT fan. What I'm saying is,
I'm a EC3 fan, and I'm telling you right now, Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, we're talking about people who made their name. Well, not Johnny Gargano, but Tommaso Ciampa, he made his name in ROH.
I don't care. Listen. Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, they have made their name in the last year. The feud that they were on together in the last year. People know who they are, even if they don't watch NXT.
What I'm saying is EC3 has been on television longer than all 4 of those guys.
Sure, but that's not one of Vince's creations, though.
We got to talk about that later.
But yeah, anyway, I could go on and on about that.
Well, one question I have before we fully move on, is how do you do a call-up with your NXT champion and your North American champion? You cannot bring those belts to the main roster. Why are those belts still there? I think that they should have dropped those belts if they were going to get called.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think they're going to stick around, like I said earlier. I think they're just there to say, "Hey, here we are. We're coming to Fox."
What they could have done is just had and what would have happened, because I'm not a big NXT guy, but I think Brian is exactly right. You want to expose the Raw SmackDown watchers who aren't watching your NXT product to the NXT product on a Monday or a Tuesday night. I think that's a great idea. It's kind of got me hooked, I'll be honest with you.
You going to watch NXT later?
If I can put that into my busy schedule, I will try to. But maybe
it's wrestling day, Steve, remember? We're done politicking for a day or two.
I understand. But maybe you have an NXT only match. Maybe you have a couple of those.
I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that, because then you're going to get to the same area of the 205 Live.
Yeah, I understand. I understand.
there's so many possibilities. We could go on and on and on. We could ramble and ramble and ramble, but that's what we do here. But we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to talk about some stuff going on in the wrestling world. Ladies and gentlemen, stick around. We will be right back.
Saturday, February 23rd at the Dunbar Rec Center in Dunbar, West Virginia. International Combat Sports, AIWF, and Fight present the first annual Combat Cup, an 8-man single elimination tournament to crown the new ICS Grand Champion, featuring the first round matchups of Kevin Tyler versus Kirk Blackman, Beastman versus Lennox Norris, Chris LaRusso versus Draven Lee, and Stan Styles versus Keith Hott. Also in the semi-main event, Eric Darkstorm defends the AIWF World Heavyweight Championship against Zero Gravity AJ Daniels. Tickets are now available starting at only $10 by visiting www.icswrestling.com/store. Doors open at 6:30 p.m. and bell time is 7 p.m. That's Saturday, February 23rd at the Dunbar Rec Center in Dunbar, West Virginia. Be there. Be there. Be there. Be there.
It was February 21st, 1999. WCW was holding their Super Brawl event, Super Brawl 4, 20 years ago. Rey Mysterio Jr. loses his mask. The Outsiders, Kevin Nash and Scott Hall, defeated Conan and Rey Mysterio Jr. in a hair versus mask match. A few side nuggets, it was Mysterio's mask against Elizabeth's hair. Yeah, really. With the win by the Outsiders, Mysterio was forced to unmask. Small problem. Mysterio had a major bout in Mexico a few days later against Psychosis in a mask versus mask match. Mexican fans were not happy with this, as per regulations. Yes, there are regulations for this in Mexico. Once a wrestler unmasked, he or she cannot put it back on without express permission from the Lucha Libre governing bodies. Mysterio wrestled unmasked until WCW Cell in 2001. When he returned to WWE in 2002, Ray got to put the mask back on, and he's wrestled in the mask ever since. This was This Week in Wrestling History with John Covey Cole. All right, guys, welcome back here. Appreciate you guys sticking around and hanging out with us. Got a bunch of stuff going on in the wrestling world this past week. Brian, there's going to be a couple moments throughout this segment where I'm going to say, yes, Brian, you were right. You were correct, Brian. I just want to go ahead and put that out there so you know it's coming.
All right.
Starting out, Jimmy Uso was arrested on Thursday for threatening a police officer, but they still won the tag titles at the pay-per-view Sunday. Steve, do you agree with this?
It's not my call to make. It's the kind of thing.
If you were running the company, would you do this?
I would not. See, I've argued with myself about this for the past week because I don't know what the larger storyline is for the world's greatest tag team. So I don't know how that plays out or what plans they had for Miz and Shane dropping the belts.
Well, they got a rematch coming.
Yeah, they've got a rematch coming. But anyway, this is the kind of thing that would have happened in years past and nobody ever knew it, you know.
Sure.
Mr. Fatu gets a DUI in the middle of nowhere, America. You know, this is played out, dealt with, nobody ever hears. Well,
right.
It's the age of social media. Everybody knows everything.
I thank God often that this wasn't around when I was growing up.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I don't know if I'd be here talking
One of my first
right
prayers is thank you, Lord, that we didn't have social media when I was growing up or cell phones. But anyway, I don't think it's a big deal. It obviously, I think, also shows McMahon's loyalty to the Fatu family.
Sure.
I mean, that Samoan family, I don't think they're ever going to go anywhere. They're like royalty in the WWE.
Well, that's what I was going to bring up next. Do you think it has anything to do with Brian, I'll ask you this. Do you think it has anything to do with the scare of the Usos leaving when their contract's up is why they're getting the titles?
It very well may have something to do with that. But in my opinion, all all he did by threatening a cop is not break kayfabe. That's their character. Welcome to the USO penitentiary.
Oh my God! Really?
Really?
I'm saying. I mean, these guys are playing.
So you're telling me Hulk Hogan gets pulled over by the cops? He's going to say, "Well, let me tell you something, brother."
If he did, then it might be better. What I'm saying is the Usos are playing characters that would totally try to fight the cops.
Sure. Now,
So-
Naomi was with him. Now, notice she didn't break kayfabe, or she did, or whatever, however you want to say it, because she didn't hit the cop with the Feel the Glow.
Right.
She tried to talk the situation down. Jimmy Uso was drunk. So
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Well, if she would have hit that cop with her ass, that would have been
Just sit off running and wham.
Right. But
bam.
no charges would have been filed.
Fox reported after the incident that the Usos and Naomi are trying to get fired by the WWE. I don't know where that come from, but Fox
I
is the one that
disagree
put
with
it out.
that.
I've seen those rumors, John, that Jimmy and Naomi have asked for a release. They like Brandy and Cody. They want to supposedly go to the AEW and be also like Brandy and Cody. But
Can you imagine the Usos versus the Young Bucks?
that'd be a good match.
Can you imagine one of the Usos going to AEW and the other one staying in WWE, and we having two Uso brothers that are that are respectable single stars in different companies? That would be
I've
interesting.
thought for a long time that Jimmy Uso could very well be a main eventer as a single star. I love him. I think he's great.
Honestly, either one of them could.
Yeah, that's true. Either one of them. Tyler Dillinger did ask for his release, and I can't say I blame him for that. He's not being used.
I can't either. He's one of those guys, and that's kind of the topic tonight, the main topic tonight. But I can't blame Ty Dillinger a bit. You never see him. He's got no compelling storyline.
Do you remember the first time you seen him? I remember the first time I seen him. He was Stan in the hallway, and Shawn Michaels kicked him in the face. Love him.
Well, that's true, but you know what? Ty Dillinger is very good. He's not good enough. He's not good enough to overcome his height deficiency.
Easy.
And that's where the problem
Easy.
comes in. That's why he needs to go to AEW where people are shorter.
Daniel Bryan, Seth Rollins, even Ricochet, I'd watch.
Ricochet is talented. Ricochet is talented enough to overcome his height deficiency.
I think
Seth Rollins is 6 foot tall. Also, who else did you name? Daniel Bryan is 5'11". Ty Dillinger's like 5'9".
It's
like Ricochet.
It's like 2 inches, homie.
It's a 2 inches a lot. 2 inches a lot.
This is the first. You're right, Brian. We talked about it briefly Sunday. Corey Graves' wife had stated that he has been cheating on her with Carmella, but it's come out now that they've been separated for months. And you mentioned that the other day that you had an inside voice telling you otherwise, and you were right. I mean, it's not a thing. It's
not.
It's the internet and the media trying to make something out of nothing.
Yeah.
It's a girl. It's a girl who wants an excuse other than it's my fault. You know what I mean? That she's making an excuse. She's building a person that took her husband away instead of realizing the fact that she took her own husband away.
Well, I don't know. None of us know the real reasons. The way it first came out,
looked bad when it first came out.
It looked bad when it first came out. But that's also a product of this living in the instant information age. Like the kids in the Native American on Martin Luther King Day.
Yeah,
that a lot of people rush to judgment. There's been a lot of rush to judgment, about a lot of different things, and I myself have tried since that incident to take a more measured approach, and I did with Corey Graves. Turns out,
that kid was a prick.
Well, he don't get me wrong, he was, but it wasn't as first reported. I agree with you. You know that mine and your politics line up, Brian. But what I'm saying with Graves here, clearly it was a hell hath no fury. It was a woman scorn, and it's easy for her to put out an alternative version out there. And you got Carmella and Corey. They've got a little more restraint on them because they are in the public eye. They are public figures. They're WWE superstars, and they're going to have to have a little bit more restraint. I thought Graves handled it perfectly.
Yeah.
And then I loved the digs where Graves is on television announcing the matches at the pay-per-view, talking about his daughters enjoying the women's tag team elimination chamber match. I know that my daughters are at home right now, and they're enjoying this and that kind of thing. So, good for Graves for the way that he handled it, and it's a couple of things. He had to be real careful, though, calling that match with Carmella in. Because if he made, I was listening intently for whether he made the first.
Steve had his notepad out.
I did. I had my
ready.
notepad out ready to just tweet at Corey Graves right then. If he said the first thing about Mella being money, how good she looked, or anything else, I was ready to tweet him. It was like Michael Cole said the other day, and I almost tweeted him that Nia Jax and Tamina Snuka were the heavy favorites. I thought that was a poor choice of words as well, but I was listening intently as the match got called with Corey. I thought he handled a potentially bad situation real well.
He did,
and he just stuck to the whole Mandy Rose thing. He's still a Mandy Rose fan.
That's exactly right.
He's like, hey, this is working.
He's a mark for Mandy.
It's being reported that Vince McMahon is not happy with The Undertaker signing up for StarCast 2. I don't know if you guys seen that or not. And I don't see why he would be, because that's kind of one of your main draws. I mean, even though StarCast is not technically affiliated with All Elite Wrestling, it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know, because once again, this is one of those things going on, and you don't know what the storyline is. You don't know, is this a situation where McMahon had specific plans for Taker in legend status? Did Taker want to keep competing? I certainly hope that Taker's hung it up. Here's the interesting...
Maybe Taker's a mole for Vince McMahon.
He could be. He was always McMahon's enforcer.
Yeah.
So, it wouldn't surprise me that he's a mole. He goes in, sees what all's going on.
I'm not supposed to talk about the mole.
But you know what I bet really burns Vince McMahon's ass is that he put something to wrestle with on his network for an entire season, and in the background is the StarCast logo for the entire season of something to wrestle with. Oh, yeah. Conrad has the StarCast logo behind him the entire time. And now it's an AEW affiliated deal. So that's definitely a
The
stab.
Undertaker is a trademarked character.
Sure, he can't use the Undertaker.
He can't use the Undertaker,
right.
So it's going to be interesting. As a lawyer,
I seen a video
and a guy
today.
who's interested.
I seen a video today he did for some promotion or something, somebody somewhere, where he was calling himself the Dead Man. So if WWE don't have the copyrights lined out, then
Taker.
What's that?
I seen one where he was calling himself Taker. So
it may end up being a trademark fight.
Unless you're Carmella, then you take him.
Steve, this is a great opportunity for you to try to represent the Undertaker in litigation.
Absolutely.
Here you go, Brian. Here's your other one for the week, buddy. It's rumored that Ambrose leaving WWE may be a work. Brian stated this last week on the show.
After seeing him slap Drew McIntyre and all that jazz, yeah, it's definitely a work. Dean is going nowhere.
I agree, and I think it's very strange. Dean's the only character I believe that you could portray. I mean this in no bad way, no pejorative way whatsoever. Mental illness or alleged mental illness.
Rollins is like, what are you doing? He's like, where was you out there?
Right. I almost expected him to do this, like he's completely oblivious due to mental illness or something to the fact that he turned on Rollins and he's waiting for Reigns to come back, or I mean, if they wanted to get really creative, they could say that the Reigns illness caused Dean to go into this temporary insanity. He turned on Rollins and went crazy and wore the Bane mask for a while or whatever, thought he was Bane or something, and then boom.
There's a lot of things with Dean, but I feel like the WWE, when Enzo Amore showed up at a show, kind of crashed the show. Remember when that happened, when he showed up at the pay-per-view and they had to
Joey Cooper says that WWE is too darn good to Dean's wife for him to go anywhere.
That's true. That's very true. But you remember when Enzo shows up, they throw him out of the building or whatever, and we never see him on TV when he was trying to crash the show, basically. How much you want to bet that will be something that happens with Dean Ambrose when he leaves? I bet you he'll show up at the show to crash the show, and this time we will see it on TV to give us that realism feel that they could have captured with Enzo, but they didn't own Enzo. So they were like, no, we're going to do this with somebody else. Thanks for the idea.
And it could even involve Renee. I mean, if they really wanted it to get personal like that. Now, you always run the risk of Kevin Sullivan booking your wife into angles there. But if they involved Renee there, that would be even better, where somebody's trying to coax Ambrose out of the crowd for a couple of weeks and then they can't do it. He's just sitting there at the crowd watching Renee, and then boom, the guy realizes, well, I'm going to put hands on his wife. That's going to get him out from behind the barrier, and it actually does.
Chris Hemsworth will star as Hulk Hogan in a new movie about the wrestler's life. The Hangover director Todd Phillips will direct, and Bradley Cooper is also going to be involved. I'm excited about this.
Who's Bradley Cooper going to play? Cyndi Lauper's boyfriend?
He's gonna be in The Shallow. I know that.
Bradley Cooper's the Macho Man.
Yes.
They're hot dogging.
That's the most exciting part, is who is going to play the Macho Man.
Right.
Someone will have to.
Ted Yoder. Get Ted Yoder in there. Yeah, who's going to play Andre?
Who's going to play Andre? Show?
It is his son.
That's right.
It's his son. It's being reported that Michael Cole may be leaving the announcer position soon, and all I can say is good. I'm tired of Michael Cole. I appreciate what you've done for me in the last 20-some years, but I'm ready to move on to something new.
Let's say I expected that like 11 years ago.
Yeah, when he stopped getting wet willies from DX, his career should have ended.
Here you go. DX will be going into the Hall of Fame. It will be all members of DX, including China, is what it said. But I see no mention of one of the original members, which is Rick Rude, and I'm confused about that.
Come on, Rez, do your Rude impersonation. Come on. What I'd like to have right now.
Yeah, what I'd like to have right now is a spot in the freaking Hall of Fame. But no, I can't talk about this, or else I'll screw up my rant later. So I'm going to let you go ahead and move on that one, because I've got a lot to say about that in Reznors Rants.
It's bothersome to me because, we'll move on.
DX going in is fantastic, and China, with all of her out-of-the-ring issues that she had, this is and plus with the stuff with Triple H and Stephanie and all that, it's a diplomatic way to get China into the Hall of Fame. China deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. It's a diplomatic way to handle that with her going in with the group. The group just needs that one more member. And I don't know if it was a situation where, he defected to WCW, and he was on both shows the same night.
He just went to the Hall of Fame a couple years ago, though, right?
Right.
Yeah, he sure did. Well, I'll tell you what the issue with that is there's only one man who's in the Hall of Fame twice, and that's Ric Flair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, his birthday party's Monday.
If Rick Rude went in with DX, then he'd be the second one, and that would put Rick Rude and Ric Flair on the same pedestal, which is what the WWE doesn't want to do.
I've never thought of that, Brian. You could be right, and it may be the reason why Cena never holds another title.
It will be.
It's been reported that some in the WWE does not like how Triple H and DX are going into the Hall of Fame. Originally, it was reported that the Hart Foundation was going to go.
And they may still.
I doubt they're going to put two factions in the same year. I could be wrong, but it's possible.
All right.
But anyway, tonight
they should put the Croc in. Said this on
the brother was making. The brother was making.
What am I, a nugget?
look how big my damn nose is.
I'm an aardvark.
I'm an aardvark.
I look like a road sign, damn it.
Jason Sensation. That's another one that was in DX. Why ain't he going in? But anyway.
You'll smell what the Croc just was cooking.
Bacon. The brother was bacon.
Sorry.
Tonight's NXT show is going to be a good one. They have said that they have a special announcement. Make sure to see what that's going to be. Also, you're going to have North American champion Johnny Gargano versus Velveteen Dream. And I'm sure most of you guys out there watching have already seen this. Steve, you may have not, so if you want to plug your ears, spoiler alert, they actually recorded two different finishes to that match. One where Gargano won, one where Velveteen Dream won. So I'm anxious to see where it's going to go there.
Well, considering the call-ups that happened on Monday and Tuesday night, I would say they're going with Velveteen Dream.
You keep calling it a call-up, though. I'm not so sure that's what it is, Rez.
But if he loses the belt tonight, it will be.
I think you might be right. I think I might get on the bandwagon with you if that happens.
And hopefully they find somebody that can take Tommaso Ciampa's title. I don't know who it would be, though.
Hey, you're on with the Royal Ramble. Who we got? Hey, Leonard, how you doing down there in Georgia, my friend?
I'm doing good, brother. How you guys doing? What's up there, Redneck?
Hey, how you doing, man?
We're just rambling on, man. What's going on, brother?
So, I've been watching the show. Touched on this elimination chamber. So I know B-Red didn't want to touch on it until his rant, but so my pro, I'm going to start with that. My pro, Kofi Kingston, all the way.
Can't argue with that at all, man.
Yep.
That's a good one.
Kofi Kingston all the way. Trust me when I say, when it comes to WrestleMania, I think you might see a three-way match with Kofi and DB.
Wow.
Saying that, putting it out there right now.
That would be a good match.
If Mustafa gets the main event of WrestleMania, it may cost him my fanship. So I hope that doesn't happen.
Who else are you going to put into the spot with Daniel Bryan?
I don't know, but Mustafa hasn't earned that position yet. And I love it. I love the guy, but he does
I
not
do
deserve
too.
the
I
main
think
event
it's
of
a year
WrestleMania.
early yet. I think this time next year we need to be talking about Mustafa Ali. If we're not talking about Mustafa Ali main eventing WrestleMania in a year, that would be an injustice. I agree with Rez.
You know that's Muhammad's great Nef's son, right?
Which Muhammad?
Muhammad Ali.
Oh,
great Nef's son.
well,
Yeah.
well, Cole's your brother.
I found an actual Covey Cole the other day. But anyway, what else
Sorry,
on your mind, Lyndon?
But I got two cons. And the first con is the Sonya Blade versus Ruby Riott match. That's the first con.
At the pay-per-view or on the SmackDown?
That match,
At the pay-per-view or on the SmackDown?
agree with that match.
At the pay-per-view or on SmackDown?
No, that's the pay-per-view altogether because I feel like if you're going to do Elimination Chamber, I think that Ronda should have went through the ringer and went through an Elimination Chamber match.
I agree.
Hey, she might not have went to the ringer, but she got that crutch upside the head. Well, I'm not sure I'm with you 100% on that one because the days of wrestling is not like it was 20 years ago. There's not the whole idea of paying dues these days. She's money. That's why she's in the spot that she's in.
Yep.
Champion because I could deal with that, but with Ronda's just been there just needs to be a new women's champion. And that's that. My second con. So I can get this up.
Did you say you're Shaka Khan?
No, my second.
Oh, okay.
This is my second one. The whole with DX being inducted, I feel this is the best way for them to induct China into the Hall of Fame.
Agree.
Plain simple.
Once again, I'm not talking about this till the rant.
Yeah, Reznor's got
Just
some
make
stuff to
sure
say
you
about
tune
this
in
later.
for the rant.
All right, Landon. He's got
Hey,
you
Landon,
on the
we're
rant, man.
going to roll on, brother. Appreciate you calling, man.
Hey, no problem, guys.
Ramble on,
Have a
brother.
good night, man.
Talking to you.
It's always nice when you guys call and tell us what's going on. Let's move on because we running out of time. We got a lot more stuff to get here, too. Did I say that right? Landon, call him back. He forgot to tell us he loved us. What's up, Landon?
Pocket dial.
Pocket dial, man. Charlotte and Andrade is a thing. Whoop-de-doo, but that is a thing. It's being reported that Lacey Evans versus Asuka is very likely for WrestleMania 35. I'm okay with that. That's just me.
You're okay with that, even though all she's done is walk out to her music and then walk back out.
She's a dime, son. She is a dime. Just saying.
She bored. I liked it the first time when it was called Scarlet Bordeaux.
I see you commenting on this on the interwebs earlier this week.
I agree, Brian. I'm bored. I don't really care about the character.
No, I don't either. And Scarlet Bordeaux does it so much better.
The only female character that is more boring than her is Lana. Don't like Lana either. She's
Lana
much
is
better.
the best. Lana number one.
Maybe. She's much better as the Russian heel.
Oh, absolutely.
When Rusev was just crushing guys. But this whole stuff, all right, whatever.
Well, there you
All
go,
right.
guys. There's the weekly news. We're going to take another quick commercial break, and then we're going to come back and talk about our weekly topic. We'll be right back. Two attorneys, one location. Gavin Ward and Josh Miller.
Hello, my name's Gavin Ward. I'm an attorney serving Southern West Virginia. If you need help with a real estate transaction or closing, probating an estate, a property dispute, estate planning, or bankruptcy, give us a call. We can help.
Hello, I'm attorney Josh Miller. I serve Southern West Virginia. If you've been injured in a car accident or hurt on the job or charged with a crime, please come see me today. I can help.
For a free consultation, call 681-207-7400.
Dorsey's Hog Tails, located on U.S. Route 60 just off of Route 19 and just past Midland Trail High School. There's always something going on at Dorsey's, and you can bet that whatever it is, it's a good time. Be sure to try some of the best food in Southern West Virginia. Then, you can sharpen those billiard skills with a relaxing game of pool. Dorsey's also offers some of the best live local music in the region on most weekends. So what are you waiting for? Stop in and see what makes Dorsey's so great. That's Dorsey's Hog Tails, located on U.S. Route 60 just off of Route 19 in Hyco.
Tim, you gotta wake up. Tim, you fell asleep again.
Dude, I'm sorry, man. I've just been so stressed out. I haven't been sleeping. I think I'm gonna have to fire.
All right, guys. Brian's hiding in the dark. I lied to you, didn't I, Brian? I said, how much time I got? I said, about 3 minutes. Wasn't quite 3 minutes. I apologize.
You're good.
It's time to talk about our topic of the week, which we've kind of built this up, and I'm excited because I feel like this is a very interesting topic. I'm not sure how quick we can get through this, but let's go ahead and start breaking it down. What I want from you guys, what I'd like to have right now. sorry, you got me all excited.
On the Hall of Fame.
We're going to start with our number 5 and go to number 1. You guys cool with that? And if you have any honorable mentions after we get through our 5, you guys can throw them out also. Fair enough?
I'm glad that you already know that I broke the rules. And
of course, you always do. I knew you would.
You're a rule breaker.
Yeah. Rule breaker, that's what I do.
Song?
That's right.
Habitual. Oh. I call it a habitual line stepper.
Brian's a line stepper.
Bird of rock.
I'll go ahead and start. And my number 5, if I was All Elite Wrestling, if there was no money issues, no contract issues, I would grab Becky Lynch. As hot as she is right now, I would grab her to bring to my women's division, and I would build around her. Essentially, I mean, she's hot right now. I'm not a big fan, but I understand business is business. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. You know who agrees with you?
Who's that?
Eric Bischoff. I listened to 83 Weeks this past week, and he was asked the question. It was Ask Eric was the topic. He was asked the question, if you started a wrestling federation right now, who would you build your company around? And he said Becky Lynch. I could not believe he said Becky Lynch, but he said Becky Lynch.
I was talking women's division, but okay.
He said build the whole freaking company around her.
I guess, Eric.
She's got the whole world fooled.
I guess. Yep. Before I move on to you guys, we got some ramblers here on Facebook chiming in. Marcus Scott says Jay Lethal.
Nice mention.
Lyndon Childers says Tessa Blanchard. And Ben Cliff says Sami Callihan. You only supposed to, you can't be naming 5 in one shot there, Ben. He got Sami Callihan with OVE and the Chris brothers.
OVE is the Chris brothers.
That's what I said.
Right.
You heard me wrong.
So there's only 3.
Yeah, you're supposed to do 1, Ben. Ben's a watcher from England. He always tunes in and rambles with us. Yeah, it's very cool. Steve.
Tally ho.
Who is your number 5, my friend?
My number 5 is the B team.
The whole B team?
Both members of the B team. I would send Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel to AEW.
You believe in the B team.
I believe in the B team. I think both of those young men, I think Vince is missing the mark with them. If I were them, I'd ask for my release and I'd go to AEW, just come up with some new characters, or take your given names, play on the fact that you're a third generation, multi-generational superstar, and establish your dominance in this new company.
Steve, I like you a lot.
I can get down with that.
If I had to pick 5, which I did, I don't know if I'd pick the B team. But so is that 5 and 4, or is that just 5?
That's my 5th.
Okay, so
I told you a tag team, a faction, and then 3 individuals.
Steve's breaking rules too, Brian. Just welcome to the party, Brian. Who's your number 5?
I can make them 5 and 4 if you want.
My number 5 would be simply because this man has the ability to become a top star anywhere he goes if he has the proper foundation. And I think that AEW needs a big guy, and they need somebody who's going to be their Brock Lesnar, who's going to be their big, scary beast style guy. And they also need that guy to be technically sound and very elite.
Talking about the Big Show, right? Talking about the Big Show,
I am talking about Brian Cage. That's who I would go after. I'd want a new face, a fresh face, but I would want him to be, I'd want him to be somebody who's impressive when you look at him. And when it comes to, when you look at Brian Cage, he strikes fear in your heart. He is a Batista. He is a Brock Lesnar. He is that kind of star. So I would pick up at number 5, Brian Cage.
Interesting choice. I got a couple more number 5s from our Ramblers online here. Sean Bowman says Alex Riley. Brandon Evans.
Is A-Rod
Dolph
wrestling
Ziggler.
anywhere right now?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. Interesting, Sean.
Derek Jones is tuned in. He says Brian Cage. He's not happy with you, Brian. He's not happy with you. Face palmed you.
Brian Cage is the man. I don't understand why anybody wouldn't be behind Brian Cage. Brian Cage is awesome. He is one of the most impressive big guys I've seen in a long time.
All right, before I move on to number 4, let me go ahead and get these so I don't miss them. Number 4 for Mark Scott. He says Kevin Steen. That's a good pick. Reznor Ben Cliff says Cage was his number 4. And Lyndon Childers hit the nail on the head. That's my number 4. I picked Will Ospreay also for number 4. I think he's amazing. And I can only imagine, as Ospreay and Prince Puma, Ricochet ever had a match together, Brian, that you know of?
Yeah, they have.
I bet it was amazing.
In New Japan.
I had to look it up. I bet it was amazing.
Yeah, it was like the talk of the wrestling world like 2 years ago.
Yeah,
you really missed the boat on that one.
Late to the party, you know. Well, I'm trying to be more cultured. You guys know how it is. I've always been a WWE guy. I'm trying to get out more.
I suggest you look it up. It was phenomenal. The year that I went to WrestleMania, you know how they do shows all around town along with WrestleMania. Every single indie show in Orlando that weekend was headlined by Ricochet versus Will Ospreay in one form or another because of how popular that match was that year.
Yeah, I'm late to the party. These Ramblers are laying into me. Let's move on. Who's your number 4, Steve Newt?
You're not going to like this because, once again, it's breaking the rules. But if it were me, I would reform the NXT group in AEW. They're going to need a faction. Nexus.
Ooh.
Wow.
Nexus. And I'm talking Wade Barrett, Heath, Husky Harris, Bray Wyatt, Ryback, and Gabriel.
Justin Gabriel.
Wow. You bring the Nexus back, they immediately take control. They're your NWO. You have Nexus invade.
Sure.
AEW.
Daniel Bryan was in Nexus.
He was, yeah. I know per the rules, like you said, I'm supposed to be aggravated, but I can't get mad at that. That's a good pick.
And if you think, those are all great guys.
Yeah.
And they're being either not used or underused horribly right now. I mean, this is a group that should have been the future of the WWE.
You also forgot Michael Tarver.
Who's Michael Tarver?
He was in Nexus. Michael Tarver, the black guy.
My apologies. I'm just talking about the core guys that went on who did something, who've held belts. Those guys should have been the future of WWE.
Derek Jones talking smack here, Steve. He says those guys are not the same now. You could pull a couple of them, but not all of them.
Lies.
Well, Dave Otunga was in Nexus too, and he's an announcer now.
Money talks, right?
That's exactly right. I'm telling you, as a faction, you could do a total invasion angle.
That would be huge. Brian, who's your number 4?
Well, my next 3 are based upon one thing, and that is who can have an amazing match with Kenny Omega. And I picked number 4 because I believe that not only was he the perfect yin to AJ Styles' yang, but he would be the perfect yin to Kenny Omega's yang, and that is John Morrison.
Morrison's great. Ben Cliff says his number 4 is Killer Cross.
You stole my number 3, Brian, but it's awesome.
Brandon Evans says Paulo is underrated. That's his number 4.
Johnny Elite.
Oh, yeah.
Johnny Elite needs to be in Cody's wrestling.
You said that was your number 3?
That was my number 3.
Oh,
I'm done.
Man.
I'm done.
So we start with number 3 with
Johnny Elite.
This is my number 3, and this was almost my number 1, and I'm probably going to have some haters out here saying, well, he's not an active wrestler. But my number 3 is Phil Brooks, CM Punk. If they could pull CM Punk somehow, that would be astronomical. That would be huge. I don't think it'll happen, but the perfect
I I tried to comprise my list of people who would work well and not break the bank. And I feel like CM Punk would break the bank. If I was running the company, I wouldn't want to break the bank on one guy.
We're not going to break the bank, though.
I did too, Brian.
I
was. If I'm in Cody's and the Young Bucks position, what do I do?
Right,
See,
and I'm
that's
not
why
trying
you guys
to
are
break the
better
bank with
businessmen than
CM
me.
Punk.
I'm just going out and spending all my money as soon as I get it.
You put
You're
it on
spending
credit
it all.
card.
Come
You
on.
put it on the credit
You're gonna
card,
have-
wouldn't you,
you're gonna
John?
have
I will.
Fire
3 more payments and he's
Omega to
mine.
That's exactly right. Put him on layaway.
You're going to have to fire Kenny Omega to afford that.
There you go.
So you're saying if I got rid of Kenny Omega, I could get CM Punk?
You're saying there's a
I
chance.
think so, maybe.
So
No,
what
I
you're
don't
saying
think
is
he gets
there's a
CM Punk
chance.
anyway. CM Punk still thinks he's going to somehow win an MMA fight.
I don't think he does. I think he's past that. He may win an MMA fight, but he's not going to win a UFC fight.
He and AJ Lee would be interesting.
Number 3 was Johnny Elite for you, right?
Johnny Elite.
And what was your number 3,
All
Ryan?
right. My number 3 is an oldie but a goodie. Somebody that I would love to see in the ring with Kenny Omega. Rob Van Dam. I would bring in Rob Van Dam. He would be my most expensive hire, but I would do my best to bring in Rob Van Dam, not only to have great matches with Cody and Kenny Omega, but also to be that veteran on board to teach people things.
That's actually why I started going by John Covey Cole, so I could have a 3-part name.
Rob Van Dam. Gosh, he was good.
Derek
Gosh,
Jones
he was
says, JCC, that pick makes me want to forgive you for singing. Steve ain't said nothing about my singing the whole time.
You know what? I actually have Derek Jones's list.
Who's Derek's number 5 and 4?
Number 5 for Derek was Velveteen Dream.
Oh, okay.
Number 4 for Derek was Becky Lynch.
Okay, so me and Derek's kind of on the same page there a little bit.
And number 3 for Derek was Tessa Blanchard.
Tessa Blanchard. I know Gary with All Star Wrestling does a lot of stuff. He's done some stuff with Tessa before, hasn't he?
Yes, he's had Tessa in.
I think he's told me that he's bringing her back this year.
Yeah, she's coming back this year.
Awesome.
Well, you better hurry before somebody signs her.
I agree.
Number 3 for Brandon Evans says the Undisputed Ear. My ear's undisputed.
That's right.
I know you meant
Never
Aaron.
lost a bout.
John Ward says Dolph Ziggler. I'm guessing he's talking about number 3. I'm not sure. Guys, please put your numbers with the ones you pick so I know what you're talking about, please. Lyndon
All right,
Childers
so number
says.
2.
What's that?
No, go ahead. I was moving on to number 2.
Oh, you're trying to rush the gun, weren't you? Lyndon Childers says Tyler Dillinger for number 3. Okay, to Brian. Now, what was you saying?
We'll say number 2. You ready? Who's your number 2?
Before we go there, Ben Cliff's smoking the wacky weed tonight. He said his number 3 is the Insane Clown Posse.
Look, I'm hoping the ICP shows up in Madison, West Virginia on April 13th with the original Midnight Express there and Jim Cornette.
Wait, what? Ben Cliff swear?
He's in England.
Where does he live?
He's in England.
Is he in England in like 1998? Because he said that they have a huge fan base, and they haven't had a huge fan base since like 90, 98, 99.
What is a juggalo, a hawkamaniac, a powerbomb mother, and the thumbtacks?
I like how you edited yourself there.
Yeah,
I didn't edit myself,
good.
man. My producer did that for me.
All right, number 2.
Go ahead, Ryan. Who's number 2?
My number 2 is someone who could create great matches with everyone that they've hired so far, and someone who I believe is the greatest short man to ever step into the ring. And in AEW, he would actually look like a respectable sized human being.
Stephen P. New?
If he matches
Austin
me.
Aries.
Austin Aries?
Yeah, the greatest man that ever lived.
You think
Austin
he's going to
Aries.
put his junk in Brandy's face like he did Christy Hemmings back in the day?
I sure hope so.
I want
And,
to see that.
I believe seeing Austin Aries versus Kenny Omega could be a dream match come true. I would love to see Austin Aries go to AEW. I love for Austin Aries to be in the ring somewhere. I don't care where, as long as it's on television.
See, I feel like you guys I like where you two are at. You guys are making smart business moves.
Yeah.
I'm breaking the bank. I really am. I went all out with my picks.
You're playing with Monopoly money
exactly
over there,
right.
John.
So who's your number 2, John?
My number 2 is Seth Rollins.
Jeez. Talk about money.
All
You got
right.
to fire Jericho. You're going to have to sell the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Sean Bowman says Dean Ambrose. Mark Scott says Shane McMahon. Wow, that would be crazy.
Talk about an insider.
Absolutely.
Mole.
Kenny Dunn says Okada.
I have an interesting one for you, and it's along the lines of Reznor, and that is Eric Young. I think you could take EY to AEW.
My favorite.
He's an established star, and he's got enough of a background on characters that you could pick from. You know, which version of Eric Young do you like the best?
My favorite one was the one he went around trying to lock up with everybody all the time.
Yes, I like that one too. But
That's
I mean,
great.
he's got enough length in the business that he could teach a lot of the young guys some stuff.
Sure.
He's being again. My theme for tonight's really underutilized, horribly utilized in WWE. I'm glad he's making some money, but I think that he could go to AEW, make a little bit less money, and have a bigger, brighter star.
I think so.
Well, listen to Derek's number 2. Derek's number 2, you're definitely going to have to at least take out the lineman for the Jacksonville Jaguars to afford this guy, AJ Styles.
Wow. Well, that's all right. We'll get
That's
him and
Derek's
Seth
number
Rollins
2.
to get together.
The reason why a guy like he or Samoa Joe won't go is because they stayed in Impact so long. They need to make this money.
Yeah.
I mean, are they not in their 40s right now, late 30s, early 40s? They've got to stay in WWE to make money. They can't.
But that's the thing, Steve. Shaka Khan or whatever his name is that owns the Jaguars, they got money down there. They got a lot of money down there.
I know.
Well, they've got a lot of money, but here's another thing: is AJ Styles is basically poised to be John Cena. Why would he leave? Like, why would you leave that situation?
Right.
There's no way.
I mean, I believe there would be a better chance of Joe going.
Oh yeah, for sure.
than
Hell, if
AJ
I was
Styles.
Joe, I would probably go. If I was Joe.
I would entertain going if I was Samoa Joe.
Lyndon Childers says TM61. Who the hell's that? Who's TM61?
R2D2's brother.
I guess.
That's NXT Tag Team.
NXT Tag Team, okay. Ben Cliff's number 2 is Eli Drake. How do you feel about that, Brian?
Well, Eli Drake is my number 1, so we will start right there with number 1s.
Well, real
My
quick,
number
before we get to your number
higher-
1, Brandon Evans says Johnny Wrestling for his number 2.
Nice. Well, my number 1 is Eli Drake, because on national television, Eli Drake is a freaking superstar. You want the next Rock? You want the next Stone Cold Steve Austin? Put Eli Drake on national television and see what happens.
Derek Jones says that you are reading his list backwards. So are you telling me that who was the first one on his list then, Brian, if you're reading it backwards?
Well, damn, that means his number 1's Velveteen Dream.
And
I
number
thought
2
for
is
sure
Becky
his
Lynch.
number-
You had it the right way the first time, Brian.
I thought for sure his number 1 was CM Punk, and that's what I have as his number 1.
So that was his number
which
5.
I guess is actually his number 5.
You know what
CM
happens
Punk.
when you don't make the show, Derek? You know what happens when you don't make the show? You make the list.
And it's backwards.
There
Eli
you go.
Drake, I'm not real familiar with Eli Drake. I know you've been advocating for him for a long time. And so
Well, let me put it this way, John. You would love Eli.
we got an Alabama person calling. Hey, what's up, Alabama? You're on with the Royal Ramble. Who we got?
Hey, I'm John calling there from Alabama.
Hey, what's up, brother?
Nothing much. How y'all doing?
Just talking a little wrestling, man. You got a top 5 that you'd bring in if you ran All Elite Wrestling, man?
Ooh, I had to think about that. One would be CM Punk. Two would be be Samoa Joe or AJ Styles.
I feel you, bro. That's a pretty interesting list, man. We appreciate you tuning in from all the way down in Alabama.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for being with us, man.
You're welcome.
All right, have a great night. Ramble on.
Appreciate you calling, John from Alabama. I should have threw a real tide at him. I should have done. My number one. Let's move it forward. My number one is the face that truly has ran the place in the last 10 years, John Cena. If All Elite Wrestling could bring John Cena in, that would be the equivalent to Hulk Hogan going to WCW. That would be huge.
Yeah, but you know what? It'd be the most disrespectful thing John Cena's ever done in his life.
Yeah, and I wouldn't look for that. The platform, I mean, it's so out of character for him. I don't know what Cena does. You're his age, and you're a 16-time champion. You're the greatest Make-A-Wish star that there's ever been. You're on the freaking Today Show. And
you're in John Covey Cole's All Elite Wrestling.
Well, that's
and here's the thing with John Cena is John Cena's basically not a wrestler anymore. He does wrestling because wrestling made him. He is an actual movie star now, like The Rock. Mm-hmm. The Rock's not going to show up at AEW. The Rock knows where he came from. Mm-hmm. John Cena knows where he came from. To have either one of them show up in AEW would be the most disrespectful crap of all time.
Listen, Brian, Steve, listen, hold on a second. No, I ain't letting you finish. In a perfect world, guys, you guys are just killing me like I'm actually thinking this is a plausible act. I don't think it's going to happen.
Well, I mean, and in fairness, Covey's question is if you ran AEW. So it's a fair
but here's the thing, though. Point. One more thing I wanted to add is Hulk Hogan.
Eli Drake at number one. Get that out of here.
That's right. When Hulk Hogan left the WWE to go to the WCW, there was all kinds of steroid litigation going on. Mm-hmm. There was a reason for Hogan to leave. Mm-hmm. And they were also pushing Bret Hart to the moon, which Hogan didn't agree with.
Right.
And Hogan was still trying to hang on to wrestling because his movie career didn't work out. None of those things are the factor with John Cena.
Brian, I didn't try to bring John Cena to your All Elite Wrestling. He's in my All Elite Wrestling, all right?
Okay.
You can sit over with your Eli Drake.
You mean you didn't like No Holds Barred, brother? I take that as a personal affront, brother.
No Holds Barred.
I'm getting Hulk Hogan too already. I'm going to get Hulk Hogan. I'm going to get Bradley Cooper, Lady Gaga. I'm bringing them all in.
Who's playing Zeus, brother, with the crossed eyes?
I might get Debo from Friday to play him. I don't know yet.
All right, you want to hear some real shockers? There's my 5 that didn't make it.
Have you still got your number 1 yet?
EC3 is my number 1. I think in the shape that guy is, size, as Kevin Nash once said about Van Hammer, he is money. I think that EC3 is money, and if I had to build my wrestling company around one single guy today, it would be EC3.
Well, I hate to break this to you, Steve, and I don't want to crap on your AEW, but I will say, no way in hell would Cody or the Bucks give EC3 anywhere close to the respect that he deserves to even hire him, let alone let him run the
WWE is giving him the respect he deserves?
No.
WWE is going to, yeah.
In this AEW, Cody Rhodes is just the grandson of a plumber from Austin, Texas. You understand? He ain't the co-owner of the joint no more.
They know who the F he is.
They know who the F he is. Cody Rhodes, you ain't nothing no more. You the American Nightmare. You dress up in GameStop clothing.
He's the second most recognizable athlete
in the world behind Muhammad Ali.
Man, Cody better hope Steve don't get the money to take over AEW. He'll be Stardust.
Get together. We're going to bring Seth Rollins in. We ain't bringing Eli Drake, though. Sorry, not happening.
Well,
hey, I'm telling you right now, believe me when I tell you, Eli Drake could be the next Rock or Stone Cold.
Out of respect for you and love for you, I'm going to go back and watch some matches.
I'm going to check him out, too.
Let's get his honorable mentions. Come on, Rez. Give us your honorable mentions, man.
All right, I'm going to give you the honorable mentions. We'll start at number 10.
Okay.
Number 10, I would bring in the man who has constantly gotten better in the ring to the point where he is 3 times the star he was when he was in the WWE.
Barry
and I would go and I would pick up Rich Swann. Rich Swann would come to my AEW.
That's a good one.
Solid.
At number 9, I would bring in a guy who's always a stand-up guy to have in your company, who would have tons of great matches with the AEW cast, and that would be Jay Lethal.
Okay. Real quick before you get to number 8, Steve, this is for you. Brandon Evans wants to know where EC1 and EC2 are at. They're already in All Elite Wrestling, waiting on EC3 to get there.
That's exactly right.
All right, so
As you were,
number
sir.
8. Number 8, I would bring in someone who I believe is the future of the business, somebody who is going to end up being in the WWE in, say, 3 or 4 years. I would get him now so that he wouldn't go to the WWE, and that is Matt Taven. Matt Taven is the man.
Was it Taven on Tough Enough?
No, that was Maven. This is Matt Taven from ROH.
Tag, didn't he?
Anyway,
Sorry, guys.
go ahead. Keep going, Brian.
My number 7 would be a man who could also have great matches with everybody on the AEW cast, and somebody who I think doesn't get enough respect as is Matt Sydal.
Oh, he's great. Yeah.
And my number 6 would be another guy who would be perfect to be the AEW's big man. And he was mentioned earlier by someone. I'm not sure which guy said it, but Killer Cross. Killer Cross definitely needs to be in AEW. I hate seeing and I love Impact. You know I love Impact.
Mm-hmm.
But I hate knowing that all these super talented people are stuck on a channel that no one's ever even heard of or gets.
Yeah.
It drives me insane.
Yeah.
And I know for a fact, I steal it off the internet every week. Other people don't go to those links to watch Impact, so they're missing all kinds of great stuff. But
are you out there trying to get our fans, our Ramblers, to go out there and steal Impact, Brian?
They should.
Lawyer,
it's the only way to get it. I don't know of any other way to get Impact other than steal it. They force my hand. They forced me to steal it.
Yeah.
That's a valid argument in court, right,
exactly
Steve?
right.
I had no other choice.
I was under duress, Your Honor.
Lyndon Schiller says his number 1 was Pete Dunne. Kenny Dunn, ironically, says Adam Cole, baby. Andy Quaid says Jason Cage is the only wrestler that matters. Jason's great.
He is a great, great wrestler. I can't wait for WrestleCon, the weekend of WrestleMania in April. I want to get to see Jason Kincaid wrestle that weekend.
What you got there, Brian? You got a little Tumblr action there?
Brother, he just admitted to internet theft in front of a national TV audience. He had to.
Now he's advertising for free.
It's the official Advanced Solar Tumbler.
Hey, Brian.
The Brian Reznor portion of this show is brought to you by Advanced Solar.
And then we're going to come right back Florida. With Reznor's Rants. Actually, we're going to Reznor's Rants right now. Brian, you ready?
I'm ready.
Hit him with it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have an issue. It is time for Reznor's Rants, and I will go straight to the internet wrestling community. The internet wrestling community has really, really pissed me off this week because the number 1 topic is, oh no, China is going into the Hall of Fame with DX. Why wasn't she put in by herself? Why does she have to go in with a group? Why does she have to backdoor her way into the Hall of Fame? Well, let me tell you why. Because she backdoored her way into everything after she left wrestling. If little girls go and look for China online, Google China, you're going to get some porno and an OD. That's what you get. So if she's going to go in the Hall
Wow, Reznor must have really been ticked off. He got so mad that he hung up the phone. Let's see if we can get him back on the line there.
That was a rant.
He was tore out of hell.
He'd rather be in China.
Brian, you all right, buddy?
Did you cut me off because I said porno?
I did not cut you off. You cut yourself off, honey. That wasn't me.
The internet gods that cut you off for saying porno.
Yeah, maybe somebody cut me off or maybe the internet gods cut me off because I said porno. But when it comes down to it, If you want China to go in solo into the Hall of Fame, put her in the porn Hall of Fame because she did more for porn than she ever did for wrestling. So she's lucky that she's in the Hall of Fame, period. And putting her in with DX is the best way to put her in. That's Reznors Rants.
The views and opinions of Brian Reznor do not necessarily represent the views and opinions of the Royal Ramble. Is that good enough?
I want to go to the Hall of Fame induction ceremony this year just so I can take a sign that says I'd rather be in China.
Yes, that'd be great.
I'm afraid Hillbilly Jim will show up again, and I want to shoot myself in the face.
Either him or Mr. T talking about his mama.
Right.
Guys, we've been here for a little while. It's been a lot of fun. I appreciate you guys tuning in at home. If you guys aren't doing anything this weekend and you are in the West Virginia area, Real Shoot Wrestling is going to be running in Buchanan Saturday. International Combat Sports is running in Dunbar Saturday evening, and WVCW West Virginia Championship Wrestling Ignition will be in Princeton Saturday, February 23rd. I will actually be there on site doing some work for those folks, and there's other wrestling out there too. So make sure you guys go out this weekend and check out any independent wrestling. I know Gary, your buddy Gary at All Star Wrestling, they got a lot of great stuff.
We've got some really great stuff coming up. That there is an NWA World Heavyweight Championship being defended in March. Nick Aldis, right, and it's a really great match.
Nice.
Yeah. So Nick Aldis, hey buddy. Nick Aldis is going to be in Madison, West Virginia in March, and then in April it's a huge show. You've got Tracy Smothers coming in. Obviously, all the members of the Midnight Express. You got Jim Cornette.
Even Cornette's going to be there?
Cornette's going to be there. Sweet Stan.
I'm going to bring you some Dairy Queen.
And Dennis Condrey are all going to be in attendance.
Wow.
You know, Dennis is battling back from cancer.
Yeah.
But they are doing some 35th anniversary runs this year. And Hustler Rip Rogers was just announced today. Tracy Smothers is going to be in there in a Smoky Mountain match.
That's going to be a good
yeah,
night.
It's going to be a great night. April 13th. It's All-Star Wrestling's Hall of Fame induction. So Gary's going to induct a few guys into the Hall of Fame.
I remember last year they inducted Woody Numbers. Am I right?
Yes, and there's going to be a Woody Numbers Battle Royal this year on April 13th as well. I always try to remember Woody around the time of the Hall of Fame, but come down and see us in All-Star Wrestling. It's a great show. I'm proud to sponsor.
I've been many a times, and they always put on a great show. Matter of fact, the last independent show that the Hardy Boys did 2 years ago was with Gary and All-Star Wrestling.
Right.
And then 3-4 weeks later, they're at WrestleMania. You're like, what?
Right.
It was great. Brian, you having all kind of fun over, ain't you, brother?
Yeah, I'm getting smacked in the face.
But anyway, before we get out of here, folks, next week on the show, this is going to be a lot of fun. Steve, you coming back next week?
I believe
Good Lord willing?
Good Lord willing, unless there's not an intermediate court about to be established in
Well, you
West
may have to
Virginia.
represent Brian talking all kind of crazy stuff on here tonight. I don't know.
He knows I've got his back.
Anyway, next week on the show, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to discuss who had the best debut of all time. And I'm not necessarily talking about a wrestling debut, just on the show in general. It could be from one company to the next. It could be for the very first time, like the Shockmaster. Shockmaster. As you can see, I got the Undertaker there in the photo, but it doesn't have to be.
We talked about Rob Van Dam tonight.
Rob Van Dam was a great debut.
WWF debut. There's been a lot of really big ones through the years.
Well, you know, the debut that Steve was talking about for Rob Van Dam wasn't actually Rob Van Dam's debut on the WWE, though.
Right.
Well, I guess because he did the thing with ECW.
He did the thing
with
Jerry Lawler at ECW. That was great. Whenever Lawler brought him out as Mr. Monday Night.
Right.
That was good stuff too.
Yeah, it was.
That was. But it was his re-debut, so it's still a debut. He was gone for a while.
I just thought that he and Jeff Hardy tore the house down that night.
They did. They did. You know what?
Tore the house down.
Have you ever watched RVD and Jeff Hardy in a ladder match?
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever watched RVD and Eddie Guerrero in a ladder match?
I have.
Wow.
You know what? Lundra Blaze dropping the title in the trash can.
That was a big debut.
That was a big debut.
Scott Hall showed up.
Here's something to think about: is have you ever seen RVD and anyone in a match that wasn't phenomenal?
Not really. He's one of my favorites of all time.
I got a
still
question for you.
remember-
Have you ever seen Rob Van Dam and Viano 4 in the same room together? Have you?
I can't say that I have ever seen Viano
Just
4
saying.
and RVD in the same room.
Just saying.
RVD versus Jerry Lynn from ECW is some of the greatest matches you could ever watch. Honestly, I believe that Jerry Lynn's entire career, was based on his matches with Rob Van Dam from ECW. If he wouldn't have had those matches, he might not even have had a career.
Exactly. I talked with Jerry Lynn at the brunch the morning of WrestleMania in New Orleans last year. He said that exact same thing, Brian. As people were standing up and thinking who got them in the business or who got them over in the business or made the way for them, Jerry Lynn said those exact words.
You know, I would agree with him 100%. You know who another person who had an amazing match or an amazing feud with Rob Van Dam, who I think Rob Van Dam taught him almost everything that he knows, kind of, is Kenny King. Kenny King had a feud with Rob Van Dam in TNA that led to Kenny King being an awesome talent. And, you know, honestly, now that I think about it, I really wish I would have put Kenny King on my list of AEW guys that I would go after.
We can't give everybody a trophy, Brian. We can't put everybody in AEW.
These liberals. And their
you know what? I'll throw Rich Swann out and put Kenny King in.
Okay, fair enough. Anyway, guys, that's about all the time we have for today. Steve New, thank you so much for coming back to the show.
Soon, man.
Brian,
Rest, take care down there in Florida, brother.
Stay warm down there. Before we go, guys, I got a little clip here for West Virginia Championship Wrestling match that happened last month to start their West Virginia Live Championship tournament. That's going to continue this Saturday. So if you guys ain't doing nothing, come out and check it out.
So much great product out there like this,
Absolutely.
John. I mean, just guys, enjoy. You're in a golden period of professional wrestling right now, and you've got great wrestling right here in the state. Go check it out.
Absolutely. For Brian Reznor, Steve New, Derek Jones, wherever the hell he's at, I'm John Covey Cole, guys. Until next week, ramble on.
I've been waiting all my life just for this one night to show I can do it. So let's get to it. I got the heart of a champion. I got the heart of a champion.
Right now, neither one of these gentlemen are really making any mistakes.
Both of them wrestling very smart early on in this matchup. Conley using the slight size advantage.
I'm about to say, we know who's the big man in the match now. It's Jeff Conley. Oh, and that's what we're talking about right there. The agility and athletic ability of one Tracer X.
The man shouldn't be walking on his hands.
Drop, not very nice drop salt. Goes for the pin.
Come on, Conley. Come on, Conley. There you go, brother.
You might have to leave the commentary table over there and give him a pep talk real quick. What do you think?
Listen, a competitor like Jeff Conley, a seasoned veteran like Jeff Conley, he's got it all instilled in his brain. He don't need me out there.
No
He's
worries
got it
right
all.
now. No worries right now.
No worries at all.
Okay. Jeff Conley avoiding the attack. Ooh, spoke too soon. There's Tracer X, the High Rick District, with the flying forearm, going for the pin again.
Kicks out. That's right, Conley. Kicking out at 2.
I've noticed that Conley, he kicks out just enough to get shows off the mat, but not all the way up. Is that
conserving the energy, Brother Huck? You
that's
don't want to put too much energy in a kick out. You just want to get that shoulder off the mat so you don't lose the match.
Ooh. Where in the world? What in the world? What was that?
That was nothing. That was nothing.
I thought you said you were going to sit in and see. You didn't have to get involved in this match.
Brother, sometimes things happen. Plans change. Plans change, brother.
That was no change of plans.
Plans change.
That was not you did not change the plans. You specifically got up and interjected yourself.
I did not get up and interject myself. I saw that he was about to do a flipper, and we are not going to let flips happen here tonight, so I stopped it.
So you're the official flipper stopper.
The flipper stopper of WBCW.
Who elected you flipper stopper?
The people.
The people? It doesn't sound like these people in Bluefield, West Virginia appreciated you stopping the flipping. You could have tainted this whole match.
I haven't tainted anything because it was going to be the same no matter what. Brother, get up, brother.
Well, there's Tracer X right there. I thought you wasn't worried about Jeff Conley. I thought you said Jeff Conley had this match in the bag. I thought you said you didn't have to interject yourself. You didn't have to give him any kind of encouragement whatsoever.
Brother Huck, there's a difference between being worried and being prepared.
Oh, that really? What's the difference?
Well,
there is no difference.
Get a dictionary.
Get a dictionary. By God. But now, thanks to no help from you.
No help at all from me. This would have happened. This would have happened anyway. This was bound and determined to be.
Jeff Conley is stretching, doing a great job with a rear chin lock. One Tracer X has that foot between the legs, so he can't really do too much movement and stuff. Working the abdominals, the neck, the back.
All of the vertebrae down the back of Tracer X are being tightened and snapped.
There's Tracer fighting back, trying to get out.
That's what we like to see. That's what we like to see, brother.
See, he didn't even need your help. See, you didn't have to do all that.
Of course you didn't.
You're supposed to be impartial.
Oh, I'm impartial.
When you're sitting at this table, you're supposed to be impartial.
As long as there's 2 men and they're not doing any flippity flopping, I'm impartial.
Mm-hmm. Jeff Conley doesn't seem too happy with the count from the ref.
Came on the scene and I did it alone. I work every weekend, I've been in the zone. Got so many bars, I don't need a phone. They call it a game and I'm looking for thrones. Going through every comment, I'm wondering why everybody been talking and telling me how I'm supposed to be rocking.